The text came through at 10:42 p.m. I remember the exact time because I was holding his phone when it happened. He was in the shower. Water running. Bathroom fan humming. Steam sliding under the door. I was not snooping. At least that is what I told myself. His phone had been left on the kitchen island while I cleared the plates from dinner. We had just celebrated our anniversary. 12 years. Steak, candles, the wine he said was special. He kissed my forehead before heading upstairs to shower. Everything felt normal. Until the screen lit up. The notification preview flashed before I could look away. The dinner was perfect, my love. Should we meet again tomorrow? My heart did not race at first. It stalled. The sender's name was saved as Daniel Work. No emoji. No suspicious nickname. Just ordinary. Which made it worse. Because ordinary hides better. I stared at the message longer than I should have. Waiting for a second text. Waiting for clarification. A correction. Something that would make it harmless. Nothing came. The shower water kept running upstairs. I told myself there had to be context. Maybe it was sarcasm. Maybe it was for someone else. Maybe it was sent to the wrong number. But Daniel Work had texted before. Multiple times. I opened the thread. Not scrolled. Opened. And the first thing I saw was a photo. A restaurant table. 2 wine glasses. A woman's hand resting near his. The caption beneath it read, "Same time next week." The date stamp was from last Thursday. Last Thursday he said he was working late. Said a client meeting ran over. I felt something cold move through my chest. 12 years of marriage does not shatter loudly. It fractures quietly. I heard the shower turn off. My instinct told me to put the phone down. To pretend I saw nothing. To gather more proof before confrontation. But my fingers moved faster than my fear. I scrolled further. Heart icons. Inside jokes. References to a hotel near the airport. My husband does not travel for work. He says he hates business trips. Footsteps upstairs. The bathroom door opened. I had seconds. I placed the phone back on the counter exactly where it had been. Screen down. I returned to the sink and picked up a dish towel. When he came downstairs, his hair was damp. He smiled the same familiar smile. Kissed the side of my head. Asked if I was ready to watch a movie. Ready. The word echoed strangely. Because in that moment, I realized something chilling. I was no longer watching a marriage. I was watching a performance. And I had just seen the script. What he did not know yet was this. I had seen the message. And I was not going to react the way he expected. I did not confront him that night. That was the first decision I made. He stretched out on the couch beside me, casual and relaxed, flipping through streaming options as if nothing in the world had shifted. His arm draped over my shoulder. His body language steady. Familiar. Too familiar. I studied him instead of the screen. When someone lies well, it is not in what they say. It is in what they do not overdo. He did not seem nervous. Did not check his phone obsessively. Did not avoid eye contact. That confidence unsettled me more than panic would have. Because confidence means practice. Halfway through the movie, his phone buzzed again on the kitchen island. He did not move for it immediately. He waited, as if trained not to react. Then casually, during a quiet scene, he stood and walked to the kitchen. I watched from the couch. He glanced at the screen. His jaw tightened for less than a second. Then he typed quickly. Deliberately. When he returned, his expression was smooth again. I smiled. He smiled back. Performance. Later, when he fell asleep beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. My mind replayed the message over and over. The dinner was perfect, my love. That was not casual flirting. That was intimacy. The kind built over time. The next morning, I woke before him. Made coffee. Packed his lunch like always. He kissed my cheek before leaving for work, the same routine we had followed for years. But now every detail felt like evidence. After his car pulled out of the driveway, I moved. I logged into our shared phone plan account. We had always kept things transparent. At least I thought we had. The call logs loaded slowly. There it was. A number I did not recognize. Repeated daily. Late evenings. Midday gaps. Even during times he claimed to be in meetings. I copied it. Then I did something I had never done in 12 years of marriage. I called the number. It rang twice before going to voicemail. A woman's voice answered in the recording. Soft. Confident. Her name was Claire. No last name. Just Claire. My hands felt steady now. Not shaking. Not frantic. Cold. Calculated. I searched social media next. Cross-referenced the number with online profiles. It did not take long. Claire M., marketing consultant. Based in the same city. Photos from upscale restaurants. Wine tastings. A particular steakhouse caught my eye. The same one my husband said was too expensive for regular dinners. The same one from the photo in the text thread. I zoomed in. In the reflection of the wine glass, barely visible, was part of a familiar watch on a man's wrist. The watch I bought him for our 10th anniversary. That was when the sadness shifted. It hardened. Because this was not a random affair. This was routine. Planned. And if he thought I was going to scream and cry and demand answers immediately, he underestimated me. I closed the laptop, sat back, and made a new decision. If he wanted to perform, I would let him. Until I knew exactly how long this had been happening, and exactly how I was going to end it. By the third day, I was no longer guessing. I was gathering. I synced our tablet to his cloud account while he was at work. He forgot it auto-backed up photos and deleted messages for 30 days before permanent removal. Confidence really does make people careless. The backup loaded slowly. Photos I had never seen filled the screen. Hotel lobbies. Room service trays. A mirror selfie in a sweet bathroom. Him. Smiling. Relaxed. Alive in a way he had not looked at home in months. The timestamps lined up with his supposed late meetings. Conferences that never existed. Client dinners that were never invoiced. This was not a fling. It was a second schedule. A parallel marriage. Then I found the calendar entries. Hidden under an app labeled Fitness Tracker. Private appointments twice a week. Same time block. Same location coordinates. I mapped the address. A boutique hotel 20 minutes from his office. Discreet. Private parking. My chest tightened, but I did not cry. Not yet. Instead, I drove there the following Thursday. I parked across the street and waited. At 6:14 p.m., his car pulled in. Right on schedule. He stepped out, adjusted his jacket, checked his phone. Then she appeared. Claire. Blonde. Confident posture. Red coat that stood out even in fading light. She did not look like a secret. She looked like a plan. They greeted each other like people who have done this before. Close. Familiar. Comfortable. He touched the small of her back as they walked inside. The same gesture he used with me at parties. Something inside me cracked. But I stayed in the car. I needed more than heartbreak. I needed leverage. I recorded video from my phone. Clear enough. Time-stamped. Location tagged. Not for revenge. For strategy. On my way home, my phone buzzed. It was him. He said traffic was terrible. Said he might be late because a client insisted on dinner. Dinner. The word felt poisonous now. I responded with a simple text. Drive safe. He came home at 9:48 p.m. Smelled faintly of expensive cologne he does not wear for work. He kissed me hello. Asked about my day. Performance. That night, as he slept, I scrolled further through the cloud archive. And then I found something that shifted everything. A screenshot of a bank transfer. Large. From our joint savings. To an account I did not recognize. The memo line read future plans. Future. Plans. Suddenly this was not just betrayal. It was preparation. Preparation to leave. Preparation to fund a new life. And he thought I would never notice. The affair hurt. But the financial move ignited something else entirely. Because cheating is cruel. But planning to walk away with my money while smiling at my face. That is war. And I was done being the last to know. War requires patience. The next morning I scheduled an appointment with a lawyer before I even brushed my hair. A sharp woman downtown who specialized in high-asset divorces. I walked into her glass office with a folder full of screenshots, bank transfers, hotel receipts, and the video from the parking lot. She studied everything in silence. Then she looked at me and said one sentence. "You have more power than you think." That was all I needed. She explained community property laws, financial freezes, and how quickly accounts could be secured if I moved first. The transfer labeled future plans was enough to raise serious legal questions, especially if he was diverting marital funds without consent. By noon, half our savings were legally redirected into a protected account in my name. Not stolen. Protected. By the time he texted me a heart emoji at 2:17 p.m., he no longer had access to what he thought was his exit fund. I did not respond right away. Let him wonder. That evening, I cooked his favorite dinner. Steak. Garlic mashed potatoes. Red wine from the expensive bottle we had been saving for our anniversary. He looked surprised. Pleasantly surprised. Said I seemed lighter. I was. Clarity does that. Halfway through dinner, his phone buzzed on the table between us. He flipped it face down quickly. Too quickly. I smiled and asked if work was busy. He said always. Lie. I reached for his hand across the table and told him I had been thinking about taking a weekend trip together. Just us. Like we used to. His eyes flickered. Guilt mixed with calculation. He agreed too fast. Said that sounded perfect. Of course it did. Because he thought he was juggling two worlds flawlessly. After dinner, he stepped outside to take a call. I watched from the kitchen window. His voice was softer out there. Different tone. Intimate. When he came back inside, he said it was a coworker. Of course it was. Later that night, once he fell asleep, I executed the next step. I forwarded every piece of evidence to a secure email my lawyer created for me. Then I drafted one final message. Not to him. To Claire. Short. Precise. Attached with the parking lot video and the bank transfer proof. The message simply said, "This is about to become very public. You may want to reconsider your future plans." I did not send it yet. Timing is everything. Because tomorrow I had something special planned. A small dinner gathering at our house. With a few close friends. And one unexpected guest. Claire. I did not invite Claire directly. I invited her professionally. The next morning, I searched her company website and found the business inquiry email. Marketing consultant. Brand strategy specialist. Public image expert. Interesting. I drafted a formal message requesting a consultation for a private event. High-value client. Discretion required. Substantial compensation. I used my maiden name. She responded within 2 hours. Available. Flexible. Interested. Of course she was. I scheduled the meeting for Saturday evening. At my house. Meanwhile, my husband believed the dinner party was simply a spontaneous get-together. A few friends from our circle. Casual wine night. He even offered to pick up dessert. I told him not to worry about a thing. He had no idea he was the centerpiece. By Friday, my lawyer confirmed the financial freeze had processed. If he attempted another transfer, it would trigger immediate review. She also advised me to remain calm. Document everything. Do not confront until ready. I was beyond calm. Saturday arrived bright and cold. I prepared the house carefully. Candles placed with intention. Music low and elegant. The same playlist he used for romantic evenings. At 6:40 p.m., our friends arrived. Laughter filled the living room. Wine glasses clinked. My husband moved easily among them, charming as ever. At 7:05 p.m., the doorbell rang again. He was pouring drinks when I walked to answer it. Claire stood on the porch. Red coat again. Professional smile. Tablet in hand. She did not recognize me. Not yet. I welcomed her inside warmly. Told her the client would be down shortly. My husband glanced toward the hallway. And froze. The color drained from his face so fast I almost admired it. Claire followed his gaze. Her expression shifted from confusion to recognition in seconds. The room grew quieter, conversations slowing as tension thickened the air. I stepped beside them both. Introduced myself fully. Wife. Homeowner. Co-host of this perfect little evening. My husband attempted to speak. Nothing came out. Claire looked between us, calculating. Realizing. Connecting every dot at once. I smiled at our guests and announced that tonight would include a special presentation about loyalty, investments, and future plans. The words landed heavier than they sounded. My husband's phone buzzed in his pocket. Probably the bank alert. The freeze notification. His secret future collapsing in real time. And the night was just getting started. Silence spread across the room like smoke. Everyone sensed it. The shift. The fracture in the air. My husband tried to recover first. Forced a laugh. Said there must be some misunderstanding. Claimed Claire was simply a consultant he had mentioned before. He had never mentioned her. Claire remained still, eyes sharp, studying me now instead of him. She understood something he did not. Control had shifted. I walked to the television mounted above the fireplace and picked up the remote. My hands were steady. I connected my phone. The first image appeared on screen. Hotel lobby. Timestamp visible. A quiet murmur moved through our guests. My husband stepped forward quickly, whispering my name in a warning tone. Too late. The next image displayed. Room service tray. 2 wine glasses. His watch clearly reflected in polished silver. Claire's posture changed. Defensive now. Her jaw tight. Then the video from the parking lot played. Clear. Undeniable. Him stepping out of his car. Her walking toward him. The intimate touch at her back as they entered the hotel. Gasps filled the room. One of our friends muttered disbelief under his breath. My husband's face hardened, anger replacing panic. He accused me of invading privacy, of twisting appearances, of embarrassing him publicly. Embarrassing him. The word almost made me laugh. I switched to the final slide. The bank transfer screenshot. Large sum. Joint account. Memo line future plans. That got their attention. Claire turned toward him slowly. You told me you were separated. Her voice cut through the room like glass. He did not answer. He could not. Because separation does not involve shared dinners and anniversary wine bottles still waiting in the kitchen. Claire looked at me again. And in her expression I saw something unexpected. Not guilt. Betrayal. He had lied to her too. The room felt smaller now. Walls closing in. Friends shifting uncomfortably, unsure whether to stay or leave. My husband's phone buzzed again. This time he checked it. His face drained for the second time that night. Funds unavailable notification. Account under review. He looked at me with something new in his eyes. Fear. Real fear. I stepped closer and spoke quietly enough that only he and Claire could hear. You planned a future without me. I simply adjusted the timeline. Claire grabbed her coat. She whispered something to him that I could not hear, but whatever it was not supportive. Then she walked out, leaving him standing alone in a room full of witnesses. But the worst part for him was not the humiliation. It was what I said next. This presentation is only the beginning. Because what he did not know yet was that someone else in that room had already agreed to testify. The door closed behind Claire and the silence that followed felt heavier than before. My husband stood frozen, scanning the room as if searching for an ally. Someone to laugh it off. Someone to defend him. No one did. Our closest friends avoided his eyes. Then Daniel stepped forward. Daniel had known my husband since college. Best man at our wedding. The one person he trusted with everything. Or so he thought. Daniel's expression was not angry. It was disappointed. Deeply, painfully disappointed. He said he never wanted it to come to this. Said he had warned him months ago to end whatever it was before it destroyed everything. The room shifted again. Months. The word echoed in my mind like a gunshot. My husband's head snapped toward Daniel, betrayal flashing across his face. He demanded to know what he was talking about. Daniel did not raise his voice. He said he had seen them together once. At a rooftop bar downtown. Recognized the watch. Recognized the laugh. Confronted him privately afterward. Told him to tell me the truth. He never did. Instead, he doubled down. Daniel then looked at me and apologized for not telling me sooner. Said he thought my husband would fix it himself. Said he underestimated how far it had gone. That part hurt more than the affair. People knew. Not everyone. But enough. And they watched me host dinners. Smile at gatherings. celebrate holidays, while he built a second life in plain sight. My husband tried one last angle. He claimed it was complicated. Said he felt trapped. Said he needed space. Space does not require secret bank transfers. Space does not involve hotel suites twice a week. His words sounded small now. Weak. I walked toward the dining table and picked up the anniversary wine bottle. The one he had claimed we would open on our next milestone. I placed it in front of him. You were saving this for the future, right? He could not answer. Because the future he planned did not include me. And now, it might not include anyone. One by one, our friends gathered their things. Some offered quiet words of support to me. None to him. Daniel stayed behind. Before leaving, he handed me something. A printed email. Dated 3 weeks ago. From my husband. Subject line relocation options. Attached were property listings in another state. 3-bedroom homes. Near Claire's listed business address. My husband had not just planned an affair. He had planned an escape. And I had just closed every exit. But as the house emptied and the front door shut for the final time that night, I realized something unsettling. He was no longer panicking. He was thinking. And that look in his eyes told me this was not over. Not even close. When the last car pulled away and the house fell quiet, it was just the two of us standing in the wreckage of what used to be our marriage. He did not shout. He did not apologize. He watched me. Carefully. Measuring. You think you won, he finally said, voice low and controlled. That tone told me everything. This was not a broken man. This was a cornered one. He admitted the relocation plan. Said he had been unhappy for years. Claimed Claire was clarity. Said the money was his too, and he had every right to prepare for a different life. Prepare. As if I were an obstacle. A phase to outgrow. I let him speak. Every word added weight to the case building quietly in the background. Then I told him something he did not expect. The house was no longer solely accessible to him. My lawyer had already filed temporary motions that morning. Financial misconduct. Intent to conceal marital assets. Emotional distress. He laughed at first. Until I showed him the confirmation email from the court. Filed at 4:12 p.m. Before dinner even started. His expression shifted. For the third time that weekend, fear surfaced. I explained calmly that the video, the bank transfers, the relocation emails, and Daniel's statement were more than enough to secure favorable terms. Especially given the timeline. He asked what I wanted. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Terms. I wanted the house. Full asset transparency. And a clean public record showing who broke the marriage. No fabricated stories. No mutual drifting apart narrative. Truth. He realized then that the performance was over. Claire had already blocked him. His calls earlier went unanswered. The moment she understood he was not separated, she walked. His new future collapsed in less than 12 hours. And the old one was no longer available. He packed a bag that night. Not dramatically. Not angrily. Quietly. As he walked toward the door, he paused, expecting me to stop him. I did not. Because revenge is not screaming. It is precision. Weeks later, the settlement finalized in my favor. The financial trail worked exactly as my lawyer predicted. His attempt to divert funds cost him leverage. The house stayed mine. The narrative stayed mine. And the message that started it all still sat saved in my phone. The dinner was perfect, my love. It was. Just not in the way he imagined. Because that dinner ended his secret life. And started mine. If you like this story, then subscribe to this channel for more interesting revenge stories. Also tell me in the comment that where are you watching from. See you in the next one.